Hi, today we're going to be taking a look at this Brino time-lapse camera. So somebody brought this into our local repair cafe and they'd already had it to another repair cafe who couldn't actually do anything with it. So this says, could we do any better? So whether we can or not, that remains to be seen. So let's pop some batteries in and see what it's doing. I think he said it doesn't actually do anything, it's just completely dead. So let's put some batteries in, just charge these ones up. And this is the on and off button. And it indeed looks dead. You've got a USB port here. And I guess that might be some kind of video out port. There's an SD card slot. I'll try plugging it into the computer just to see if the computer picks anything up and to see if we can supply any power from the computer. So I'll just go and grab the laptop and then we'll try that. One moment please. Right, back with the laptop and a power lead. So let's see if this does anything. And that would be a no. Right, I'll get the laptop out of the way and then we'll take this apart. Right, let's move the laptop out of the way. Right, so how does this come apart? We'll get the batteries out first. I'll take the SD card out, I think. And I think somebody's been into this before at the other repair cafe. And another couple of screws in the battery compartment. Right, so how does this come apart then? I can't see any more screws in it. I'm just going to grab a spudging tool just to see if I can get in down these gaps here. Right, it's one side off. I've got another screw there, let's get the other side off. See how the rest of it comes apart. Looks like it's clipped here. Right. Let's just zoom down and we'll have a look over the board, I think. So that's obviously the camera part of it. Looks like we've got an ARM microcontroller there. That's where the power comes in. Little crystal oscillator. Let's see if we can get this board out. So there's another 4 screws. Let's see if this part wants to come out now. Okay. So it looks like we've got a RAM chip or flash chip here. We've got a voltage regulator. I guess that's the main power switch. Let's have a look under this LCD screen. And we've got another chip here. Something blue, so I wonder if that's either a display IC or whether that's what actually does the camera. But I can't see anything obvious up to now. Another That's a little mark on that voltage regulator there. I'll just try and zoom down a bit more for that. I'm not too sure if there's a little mark on that voltage regulator. Might just be a bit flux or something though. It looks like it's came off there now. Right, just have a look on the other side again. Right, so I wonder if it's worth putting the batteries in. I'll get this under the microscope so I can get the test meter and shot at the same time, and then we'll measure some voltages around this. I'll go and set the microscope up. Right, I've got the microscope set up, so let's check some voltages. Let's just see what we've got coming in on the battery terminals. We've got 5.3. Let's just flip the board over. I think there's some voltage regulators on the other side here. I'll just refocus the microscope. Right, let's see what we've got on this then. So that must be the ground. And we've got 4.9. 4.9. 2.9. Now I think this is in the on position. Let's just try it the other way, see if we get any difference. Looks like the power switch is doing something then, I would say. Or maybe not. For some reason, I don't know. I'll just double check up on there properly. Yeah, we've got 4.9 there again. Let's just see what we're getting on this cap. We've got 1.8, which is probably right if that's the RAM chip. And with a little backup battery there, it's probably for a real-time clock or something. Let's just see what we've got up here. And 1.8, 1.8, 4.9. So I guess that little power supply is working okay. Let's just see what we've got across this capacitor. Doesn't appear we've got anything across this one. Now that might be the USB power input. Should make sense why we haven't got any voltage on that one. but I haven't found anything interesting up there yet. I'm just going to refocus. And I did pull up the data sheet for this ARM chip. So I'm just going to go on ground here. And I think that was the power into the ARM chip. And one of the power pins is this pin here. And we've got 2.9 volts. 2.9. We've got a 1.6 there. And 2.9 there. I think this one, pin number 1, was battery input. I've got 2.8 on there. So we do seem to have power going into the microcontroller. So this seems to be the power switch here. Let's see if we can figure out where this goes. So we're just going to disconnect the battery a moment. I'm just going to go on to continuity. Don't appear to have anything there. I'll just switch this switch. Well, the switch is working. Let's see where the switch goes to. So it looks like we've got a pull-up resistor there. Let's just try some of the pins on the microcontroller. So it looks like that pin there. So pin 45 seems to be the power button. But why isn't it doing anything? I think I'll get the scope out and we'll just check that we've got oscillations on crystals and things. And we'll also be to check that the processor isn't being held in reset as well. Right, I'm going to set the oscilloscope up. Right, I've got the scope set up. And pin 7 is the reset pin. So let's see if that's high. So this one here. Right, so the processor's not in reset because the reset pin's high. That's good. Now it said pins 2 and 3 are for the real-time clock crystal, which is down here. So let's just see if we get anything on those. Let's just try. Well, we're not getting anything on that. Let's try the next pin along. Nothing. So I would have thought this should have its real-time clock going all the time. And I think the next 2 pin downs are the oscillator pins, which looks like it isn't populated. So I guess this is using the built-in oscillator rather than an external crystal. Let's just see if we get anything on those. Just get a little bit of voltage on that one and nothing on that one. Actually, yeah, we do. So we've just got a bit of voltage on those 2 and nothing else. Let's just see if we can see the on-off pin toggling when I move the switch. Yeah, that's it gone low. And that's it gone high. So we're getting the signal to the MCU here. Let's just double check that we're still not in reset. And have we got anything on the crystal? And that would be a no. So we're not getting anything on the 32 kHz crystal, which is like the real-time clock. I wonder if we're getting anything on this microcontroller at all. Let's just double check we're getting power into it. Yes. I'm just trying to think what the power pins were. I think it was that one, that one, that one. And again, it seems to have dropped there now. Or was it that one? I'm going to have to double check what pin 16 is. But no, that's definitely a power pin. And that's definitely a power pin. Actually, and the other power pin was there. Yeah, so we are getting power to all of the power pins. What this pin is, let's see if we've got anything on that. Let's try some of these test pads, see if we get any waveforms or anything. I just don't appear to be getting anything on any of the pads here. So I wonder if this is some kind of firmware problem, where the firmware's being overwritten or something in this. Or if this chip has failed. Well, I don't think we're going to be able to repair this one. I mean, I could try replacing this oscillator here. But I don't think that's got anything to do with it. I think this is just for the real-time clock. So if that wasn't working, it just wouldn't keep the correct time. I mean, I can see if I can find one. We can try replacing it in any case, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. Let's just try some of these other test points around here. Let's just try on the SD card. So it looks like we've got a load of voltages, but nothing else. There's just no waveforms or no logic changed on anything. It's literally like there's no clock. Or the firmware's gone or something. Now, I'll have a look at the other side of the board again. We'll get the scope on the other side and we'll just see if we can see anything on that side. Because there's a few test points and things. Let's see if I can get this little plastic thing out of the way. Just get a ground with the scope wire. Yeah. And I can't see any other oscillators. And this is an FPGA from what I've looked on the internet. Oh, we have got something on that pin there. That's the first thing I've seen. pin is, but we seem to have a little bit of a waveform or something on there. It looks rather erratic though. Actually, there's some kind of clock pulse there. But we don't have anything on the main microcontroller. So I'm kind of suspecting either a firmware problem or that microcontroller's gone faulty. Because we seem to have voltages there, but we've just got no signals at all on the microcontroller. Let's just try scoping some of these other pins. So I guess that's where the clock pulse is either coming into the chip. Let's just see if we can see what that is. So we've got a 24 megahertz clock coming in on that pin there. Right, so there's a clock going into the microcontroller. Well, there's just literally nothing coming out of it. So I think the rest of the unit's working. I think the problem's this chip. I'm just going to double check the data sheet just in case I've missed something. But as long as it's not in reset, we've got power and we've got clock, this should be running. And we know the on off, it's getting the signal from the on off switch because it's going to the pin just here as well. But normally the clock pins come in on here, so... But it did say that you can reconfigure the clock pins to a different pin, so I guess that's what they've done. Right, I'm just going to check the data sheet again just in case I've missed anything. So I've had a look at the data sheet and the only thing that I may have missed is the boot select pin, which is pin 60, which is boot 0. And that should be tied to ground. So let's have a look at that one. And it does appear to be ground. Let's just check the scope's still working. Yeah. So that is indeed tied to ground. So I think there's a firmware problem with this, or the chip's fried. But one thing I did notice, we've got some, it looks like possibly a serial debug header here. And if I go on that pin there, at the moment it's high. If I pull the power and put the power back in, it's still high. I'll just try flicking the on-off switch and trying it. Try to get the power back in. So it's low at the moment, but when I flick the on-off switch, which I'm just going to do now, it does go high. So I'm not sure if the chip's in some kind of bootloader mode because there's no firmware, the firmware's being overwritten or something, or the firmware's being corrupted. But I think the chip may actually be processing something, but it's just not processing fully. The only other thing I can try changing is this 32 kilohertz crystal here, just in case that's got anything to do with it. I think I've got one of those, so I'll give that a go. And then if that doesn't work, well, I don't think we're going to get very far with this one, unfortunately. Right, I'll go and get the iron out and we'll whip this crystal off and I'll pull a different one off an old board or whatever. Right, I've managed to find another oscillator. Just so you can have a look there. You might just be to make that out. It's 32 kilohertz, same as the one here. Let's try and focus that in a bit better so you can see a bit better there. So what we'll do is we'll add some solder, we'll take this one off and we'll replace it with this one. I'm just going to put a bit of flux on first. I'm just going to add a little bit fresh solder. This one's going to be a bit more tricky. Right, I'm going to get some hot air on that now. Let's see if we can get this old one off. Let's see if we can get the new one straight back on. Right, let's connect the power back up and let's see if we get any oscillations on that now. Oh, and that might be a yes actually. Hold on then. Oh. Oh, I've definitely got something going on there now that we didn't have before. I don't know whether this made any difference to the unit operating or not though. Let's just have a look. Well, hey! Yes! No way! I wasn't very hopeful on that one. Right, I'll get the microscope out of the way. I'm really surprised at that. Honestly, I didn't think about to fix this one. Right, I'll get the microscope out of the way. Right, I've got the microscope out of the way. I still cannot believe this. No card. Right, I think I'll get it back together and then we'll give it a test. But that looks very promising, that now. Alright, so how do you go back together then? Let's unplug the power for now. And I need to figure out how this on-off switch goes back in. Right, so I'll put that in the off position. Now there's a little spring there. Where does that go? I guess that spring goes into that little hole there, I would think. Now I didn't take it out of this. I wonder if this is from the previous repair cafe who had a look at this. So I think that goes like that. Right. plug the power back in for now. Doesn't seem to want to clip together. Very good, that. Try this side first. I think there's a peg or something got to go into it. That seems better. Yeah, I'm really surprised. I thought it was dead firmware or something. I wouldn't have thought that the real-time clock oscillator would have stopped it from working. I would have thought it would have just not incremented the time or something. Right, with 2 screws in the bottom here, and then 2 that go into the battery compartment. And then I have no idea how you use this thing. Let's pop the SD card in. I don't think you see this display very well with this plastic thing on. That's just setting the date and that. Let's try the menu. I don't know how you press the OK in the centre, right? Because that's left and right and that's the OK. I was just trying to work out how you use the menu here. So I don't know if we can get a picture on it or something. Ah, there we go. You can see my little sign thing there. Excellent. Well, I think that's it then. Well, I'm well happy with that one. I wasn't expecting to fix that. So, right then. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe. Any comments or questions, leave it in the comment section below. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching.